Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about IBIO once again. Update from my previous DD based on a lot of requests that I got received today. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow up, subscribe, and leave notifications on. Now at any point, if you would like to understand more about the technical analysis I'm going through it, you'll find it in the description below in a playlist. As well as the previous DD I did on this one here, which has a little bit more explanation through everything from pipeline to fast farming, but I'll touch base on it so you can understand everything you need to from the video alone to make your educated decision. Technical analysis here is just to give you a perspective for the trader's psychology and not to give you a perspective for the entire company as a whole. Let's jump right into it. Now on a 1 week perspective, what we get to see is an MACD looks like attempting to stabilize to maybe curve up. A very strong negative trend is hinted by the ADX. Momentum is negative and average directional index shows in a strong negative trend. Moving averages are, however, a little bit mixed. So the 50 SMA is climbing up, but the 200 SMA is climbing down, which is bullish. But the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, so it's bearish. So sure, it had a little bit of a jump last week, but it looks like it really killed it this week, and thus it is more on the bearish side on a 1 week perspective. On a 1 day perspective, we get to see a negative reversal here on the MACD. William %R is highly oversold. ADX is trading in sloppy, momentum is choppy, and get to see a Death Star is probably going to be seen sometime in the next or later on this week, and that could be really off a bearish sign. Death Star is when a 200 SMA crosses the 50 SMA from the bottom. 30 EMA is above 10 SMA, and the price point has seen a bit of a beating. Now on a 2 hour perspective, it very much is off the same essence, a very strong negative trend, a bit massive drop in the morning and then kind of stabilize a little. But let's take a quick look into the moving average band. So the moving average band, what we get to see here is 190 on the top, 173 on the bottom, and 155 in the bottom. 173 in the middle, 155 on the bottom. And that is the expected kind of range to trade in. Now it's gone on and off from the band, but usually it kind of trades within or around the band. So that's something to consider. Stochastic fast and stochastic slow. So the stochastic fast here is giving us a hint that says, hey, it might be if you want to pick this up, it might be a good price point to pick it up in the next few days. However, the stochastic slow is telling you, hold on, it might actually go on a little bit lower before it stabilizes and sees another push. That's merely what these two are telling you. Now the Fibonacci retracement support doesn't tell you jack. It basically tells you, hey, this next support is at 5 cents. And then the current resistance on the Fibonacci retracement is 179, followed by 287. Now, significant supports and resistances. I'm going to first go through resistances because, hey, they're around closer to here. And the current resistance you're looking at is around 158. Above there, you're looking up to somewhere around 166. And from 166, you're looking up to, let's say, somewhere around 178. From 178, you're looking up to 189. From 189, you're looking up to $2. From $2 to all the way to 216. Now let's jump from 143. So 143 is your current support. It will sit somewhere around this area. And we get to see from this area here is the current support is actually sitting at 134. Below there, we're looking down to 114, and from there on to $1 and sub-dollar. So let's jump into the latest news and what we can find about this one. Now, I've mentioned quite extensively about this one in fast farming and the COVID-19 applications, but before then, let's look into the latest SEC filings. Latest SEC filing shows in that they're trying to increase the amount of shares, authorized shares. A little bit screams a bit of offering in that sense. And then when we're looking into, let's say, so their annual meeting is happening on December 9th, and you're going to be voting for that additional shares. Now, they also are hiring, as of December 1st, Randy J. Maddox as the next Chief Operating Officer. So first thoughts is, who is this guy and what's his qualifications? So I believe it's this person here because, well, if you look into, let's say, they're prior to GSK and all that stuff and BP, it matches on from what his resume looks like to be. So currently, he is he's the Chief Manufacturing Officer for Aptevo Therapeutics, and then previously VP and Site Directors for GSK, served for around 4 years for each, give or take. Human genome science as well, and Biogen previously as Director of Quality. He has an MBA in Master of Business Administration from Duke University and East Carolina University's Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and a Master of Science in Analytical Chemistry in East Carolina University. So that's as much as I have about him. Nothing very significant, I would say, but there you go. That's his basic resume. He does mention a bit more about himself. Apparently, he says, result-driven leader and demonstrated experience and expertise in a broad array of biopharma areas, including operations and supply chains, product launch, quality, and regulatory compliance. Regulatory compliance and process development, written there a bit weirdly, business development and manufacturing, extensive facility and site startup experience, broad CMO business developments and relationship management experience, proven ability to develop and lead high-performance organizations ranging in size from 100 to 500 people. All cool, and basically we get a bit of an idea into what he served before. Now comes towards institutional buyers, and we see institutional buyers looks to be a bit more on the mixed side. 23rd, I mean, you're adding 1,000 shares here. Not even sure because it doesn't show you whether it's green or red. 22, 86,000 shares, a bit mixed, okay? And what it looks like is, hey, on the 16th, you had a lot of different institutional buyers than previously, but with the price point currently, we're yet to see how they act. Now, fast farming applications for COVID. I did mention it before even they mentioned it about the vaccine, or the potential of using fast farming for coronavirus countermeasures. And it looks like, hey, on paper, it sounds all amazing, and either get therapeutics or even the vaccine. Now, I know they have in the pipeline, this is a pipeline, COVID-19 vaccine to them. Strap that on, because Pfizer, Moderna, and even AstraZeneca is really, well, first two already have, are submitting the FDA emergency. I believe Pfizer is, Moderna, I'm not sure, but they have released the data, and AstraZeneca just released as well a bit more data saying, hey, ours work. This one here is in preclinical. We're not going to wait for COVID-19 vaccine for 4 years. So, unfortunately, this one is scrapped. The next you're looking at is the swine fever vaccine, the classical one. And then systematic one, the IBI 100s, and that's as much as it. They have to restructure and refocus onto their operations because COVID-19 vaccine is a little bit of a far stretch for the current time being. But they're fast farming. I did talk about fast farming and able to scale up operations. Now, the big thing to be able to do it is, in my perspective, is not to charge it a cost for these large companies. For one reason. I know it's going to sound that they're actually basically making use of them and using them and throwing them on the curb, but if they can show this technology, they can show on a lot of headlines. That's really good PR for a company that's trading as a penny stock at the current time. My idea onto this one here is, when you look, for instance, into the Canadian supply chain, a lot of their supply chain, for instance, including, for instance, the vaccine for Pfizer, which needs to be frozen at negative 80 degrees Celsius as well, and it is quite interesting because Canada also mentioned that they're going to be using military operations to even scale up and provide Pfizer and Moderna the ability to scale up these kind of operations. Similarly, I also believe that the U.S. Army Engineer Corps, or Corps Army Engineers, I can't even remember what it's called, U.S. Army Engineering Corps, I believe, they have potential to help Pfizer and Moderna to scale up those kind of things. And unless IBIO becomes in a very obvious solution, and they need to do their part. So, email your IR, Investor Relations, ask them about this one, ask them what their plans is to have fast farming applied to Moderna and Pfizer vaccines and stuff, right? Because otherwise, governments are going to budge in and going to use military resources to kind of scale it up, but at no extra cost to Moderna and Pfizer. So that's where they got to be smart. And they really mentioned, I believe this was Moderna, they said, we have access to raw materials, we have access to people. The main challenge is to optimize as much as possible. And they're talking about ramping up production lines, a process that may stretch into next year. And you get to see that unless the fast farming is ready, and from what it looks like, it's a little bit interesting, because I don't know if any vaccines have been produced that way, but in theory it works. So there's a lot of different moving parts in IBIO fast farming, and that kind of worries me, because that kind of tells me, even though I believe in this company and I know they have a strong technology, will they basically pick up that part of them and try to compromise on some stuff for good publication or good PR, just to try to be on the market back again. That is one thing to be considered. For right now, I honestly wouldn't be touching it, because you know what's scary? What are they working on right now? Their IBIO 100 and their swine flu fever. COVID vaccine, I think that's done. And that kind of disappoints me that we haven't seen this one really progress, at least in the fast farming developments. What do you think about this sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.